I shall now review Vinculum by Semiogogue, otherwise known as Oliver Perrin. Previously, we looked at Professor Edward Dutton's book At Our Wits' End and at David Irving's book Hitler's War, and I rated them on a number of metrics. These metrics are now applied to Vinculum. Books are for reading, so does this book invite me to read? Size is important. If the book is unwieldy, then it is hard to read. This book is about 300 pages long. You can very easily hold it one-handed if you had to. It is not particularly heavy or tall or wide. At no point when reading it did I get distracted by its physical size. Now we discuss the book's title. I am not sure about the title. I would not know from it what the book is about. I am not even sure what the title means. However, it does stand out, and maybe being so inscrutable entices the curious. Personally, a title like that might scare me off if I saw it in a bookshop, in case it was too highbrow for me. Now we judge a book by its cover. On the one hand, I find the appearance pretty. The size and font for the title, the contrast between it and the background itself is easy on the eye. It feels warm and soft. It feels as if I am staring up at the inside of a domed roof. The spine of the book makes it easy to pick the book out of a lineup. On the other hand, the cover tells me no more than the title did. I have to investigate before I decide if I want to investigate. If I turn over the book to read the blurb, it is an extract with small letters and many words. Let's contrast with another book. This is Biggles Flies East. You can make a reasonable guess as to what the book is about just from the cover. There is a desert and biplanes and a man on horseback. Even if you are not sure, the blurb is short and tells you what the book is about. Vinculum is making me work before I've even started reading it. What about the language in the book? The language is very efficient. Sentences and paragraphs tend to be short and to the point. The vocabulary is not complicated, though the characters do use Turkish and Arabic and other words without translation. There is frequent reference to things that the characters know about their world but the reader does not. At first I worried that I would need to remember all these things, but I got over it. In previous reviews I discussed figures and footnotes, but those books were non-fiction. This is fiction, so it is unnecessary. What about the book's style? The book is written in the present tense and works very well. The book is very efficiently written, so it can spend more time doing things than describing what it is doing. This occurs, then that, and then the other. Points are not labored, but the book is not rushing either. Settings and characters are described briefly and in detail. The main character fumbles with a cigarette lighter while holding a gun, and then calms himself and holsters the gun to free up his hands. That takes up about 2 sentences in the book, but it tells us about the character's frame of mind, etc. Another author could have spun that out for 6 sentences, and we would have learned just as much. In this case, the author saves himself 4 sentences to use on something else. Since the book is so efficient, it is quite a change of pace when it does need to slow down for very important things. They are important, but you do notice that it's been 8 sentences and we are still here. We occasionally change perspective from the main character to another character. The main character does not see the events that occur. Maybe he could be told about it later, but why should the author write about his character being told something when he can just tell us directly? Both methods will inform the reader, but the latter is consistent with the book's general pace. There is a twist or revelation regarding one character that changes the tenor of the plot. It goes from a gritty film noir crime caper to a gritty something else. I don't come to expect that kind of curveball, but the author pulled one off here. That was style and now substance. The plot is basically about a heist where the robbers find themselves pursued by shadowy elements who also wanted to steal the thing the robbers stole. It is set in Istanbul in 2076. The author did a lot of world building. The characters refer to people, places, and events that never show up in the plot again. They are talking to each other, not to me. The author has built a whole society, technologies, politics, and underclasses for his world, and the main characters interact with them as necessary. You don't get to see it, but the surface is scratched so variously and frequently that you know that there is more beneath it. The author's world could play host to many novels. The characters are all different from each other, and there is quite many of them. This makes their interactions, compatibilities, and incompatibilities more credible and natural. Even characters that come and go quite quickly have a measure of depth. The author is not sentimental about his characters. They live in a harsh and dangerous world, and they have a tough time. I thought that the author created a very good villain for the book. The plot advances in a logical manner. The characters act as we would expect, given their motivations and constraints, and they fail or succeed as we might expect. There was maybe one rescue which felt a little convenient, and the book ends a little abruptly, though I might have just misunderstood. A lot happens in the story because of the efficiency of the language. It is all substance and no padding. I enjoyed the book very much. However, I think that it could benefit from a different cover.